I'll get in the middle then. Okay, this is our basement, and well, first of all, let me tell you about the outside now that we're on the inside. Okay, the story of the Dobbin house actually begins in the 1600s. It was when a man named William Penn, who was a Quaker, he lived in England. He was owed money, it was actually owed to his father, by King Charles II of England. And King Charles didn't have the money to pay William Penn, but he did have all the land on the east coast of what is now America. So he decided to pay William Penn with land. He gave him all the land that is now Pennsylvania. Well, William Penn, being a Quaker, he was against, he went against the rule in England. It was actually a law that you had to worship with the Church of England. You couldn't worship with anybody else. And he was actually put in jail because he was of a different religion, a Quaker. So when he got this land in Pennsylvania, he said, I want it to be where people can go there and they can worship any religion that they want. That's very important to him. So he comes to Pennsylvania with the Quakers over in the Philadelphia area. Well, people heard about this freedom of religion, and they said, hey, let's go over to the New World. Let's go to Pennsylvania. So the next wave of Europeans were Germans. And these Germans settled just east of here in what is now York and Lancaster County. You might have heard of these Germans. They're commonly called the Pennsylvania Dutch. And then the next wave of Europeans, they leapfrogged over everybody else, and they landed right here where we are now. They were mostly Scots-Irish. And again, they wanted this freedom of religion. When there were enough of them, they put out the call for a minister. And a man who lived in Ireland, and his name was Reverend Alexander Dobbin. He answered their call. He came to America, he came to this area, and he owned 300 acres of land, and he built this beautiful house. So, Alexander Dobbin, when he came here, he built a Georgian-style house, and it was very commonly the style of the 18th century. And the part that he originally built was the part between the two chimneys that you looked at outside. Now, the stone, and you can actually see it down here, it's not nicely cut stone like you find in a lot of stone houses, especially towards Philadelphia. This is called rubble stone construction. It's where they went out on what is now the battlefield and they picked up rocks. If you were out there, you saw a lot of rocks. And they brought them here and they kind of threw them together as best they could. But here it is 240 years later, and those rocks are still holding up this house. So the first floor you saw had shutters, and on the second floor there weren't any. Well, nowadays, if you put shutters on a building, normally you put them on all the windows because it makes it look so pretty. But these shutters are not for decoration. They're actually for protection from Indian attack. Because when this house was built, they were still very afraid of Indians coming to attack. You see, this area was the frontier of America. There was very little to the west of here.